Alrighty, so today we're going to be talking about cranes and heavy construction and how it helps the infrastructure build in a faster way. So we're going to be in this presentation, we're going to be talking about the equipments related. We're also going to be talking about the cost of running a crane. We're going to talk about how Texas uses cranes in heavy construction. We're also going to be talking about the types of cranes because there are multiple types. We're also going to be talking about the maintenance, the safety as well. So cranes are used in heavy construction to lift heavy objects ranging from 110 to 120 tons. Now, certain cranes can't lift 120 tons, but we will get to that in a later slide. Safety is a huge factor when operating these machinery because you are going to be lifting multiple tons at a time. And, if one of those falls, it will injure someone or something. Cost is also a major factor because they all range for a certain time. And, you got the maintenance and all that as well. Tower crane, now certain types of cranes, there's tower cranes, mobile cranes, as well as static cranes. Those are the main ones used in heavy construction. So equipment related to heavy construction cranes, you have the slings and rigging, which include the chains, wire, and rope for lifting load, as well as load security. You also have the hooks and shackles, and that just ensures that hooks are rated for the load and shackles are the proper size to lift and maintain the weight of the load. So safety harnesses is when it's something that like the operators have to have on whenever they're on their way up to the crane because some of these cranes are 100 meters up into the sky and they have to be able to have a harness so they don't fall, just basic PPE. They also have crane operators also use signal devices and pretty much just like a walkie-talkie kind of thing, which is just used for communication. There's also safety sensors, which are pretty much all over the crane, and that's just used to ensure that the crane does not lift its maximum capacity, causing a failure within the crane. And that if it does lift too much, the rope can snap, the crane can fall, everything else like that. So for cost, there's quite a bit of that. You have the fuel cost, you have maintenance costs, operating wages, the insurance, depreciation, transporting expenses. You also got to have permits and licenses to use and run those. There's training costs, which just depends on the company. There's also rental or purchasing costs, and there's also site preparation. And some of these machines can cost from like a range to 100K to like over $1 million, depending on the make and model. So heavy, so cranes used in heavy construction in Texas are for commercial buildings. They're also for schools, offices, and dorms as well. And pretty much can be used for any kind of like construction site as well, depending on how much you have to lift. Because obviously a person's not going to be able to lift 5 tons by themselves. So crane types, the most basic ones are static cranes, mobile cranes, tower cranes, as well as hammerhead cranes. These cranes are usually static cranes, which are usually attached to a to a roof or the side of a structure. They can also be anchored to the ground, and they're designed to stay in a single spot and not move. Mobile cranes, they are designed to move around. Obviously, it's mobile, so used to move things quickly and around in a efficient way. They can lift up to 135 tons. These can go over 600 feet tall. So some questions about the cranes. Which crane lift the most amount of weight? Which ones can reach the highest height? And then you also get the ones that uh, what are like two things to maintain a crane in heavy construction, and then also name 3 safety procedures for cranes and operators to help ensure the safety of the people in the construction site. Tower cranes. Cranes are indispensable equipment in construction. Things need to be lifted in a timely manner. Cranes do that job. Most tower cranes have access ladders. Tower cranes can lift 10 to 50 tons. Tower cranes can lift heavier loads closer to the base. Some tower cranes can reach uh, over 1,000 feet. Hammerhead crane. These cranes allow the load to slide across the top called racking, and it also has a rotation and trolley are built around high pressure hydraulic systems. These cranes can lift between 10 to 120 tons, as I said in the earlier slide, depending on which kind of make and model. They can also reach over 300 feet in height. So maintenance of cranes, obviously there's regular lubricating, gotta have that, or it's gonna be metal on metal and it's just gonna break. You don't want that happening. You also need to be inspecting and tightening loose bolts, or it's just gonna start falling apart on you. Inspecting all moving parts for failure each morning, and calibrating load limiters. That is a very important factor because if you don't, your sensors are going to be beeping everywhere, and you also got to do cleaning after you use it. Just basic maintenance right there. For safety, overloading is obviously a big one because you can't overload a crane. Falling, and which involves falling loads. Swinging loads due to high wind, you got to be able to control them, and that's where the safety line also comes in. There's also electrical hazards, mechanical factors, environmental factors, as well as human error. So the summary, there are many types of cranes, such as mobile cranes, tower cranes, as well as hammerhead cranes and static cranes. Now, the cost of owning and operating these cranes vary depending on the job at hand. Maintenance is required for these machinery and must be done. Cranes are used in heavy construction, and safety is a major factor when using these cranes. There are my references. Y'all have a great day.